Howdy, howdy. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you for watching and subscribing and also sharing with others. This is my video series on building out my expedition camper, and after cutting into these walls and taking out sections of them to build out my gear garage doorways, the entrances, I'm going ahead about cutting some extrusions down to line up and basically trim out these extrusions and also lock and seal in the garage door openings with the bed platform. So it's a pretty complicated system here where everything interlocks together, and in this video I'm going to go over the actual installation of the bed platform, which I went ahead and did with a little test fit, shared that with you in our last video, and got that test fitted in there, got all the extrusions already cut to go and hold this in. And today we're going to go ahead and do a little bit of trimming on the bed platform and the wall as well as the extrusions and get this bed platform installed so it seals in the gear garage. So thanks again for watching. Here we go.
Okay, so what I'm doing right now is the bed wall and the bed platform that I got from Total Composites that are intended to go full width of the interior for about 5.5 feet forward from the back wall, and then of course down for the front wall. I'm going to trim the width of them ever so slightly because now I'm adding in those extrusions, those 2-inch to 2-inch wall extrusions. These are each 2-inch panels, just like the sidewall panels. And so those extrusions that go from 2-inch to 2-inch, they add roughly about 3/16 of an inch in thickness in one dimension. And so when I add two of them together on each side wall, I'm adding really about, call it 6/16, right, or 3/8 of an inch. So I'm actually going to trim the width down of each, the bed wall and the bed platform, by about 7/16. So that's going to give me just a little bit of extra room in there to get these things in there width-wise when I have those extrusions in, so they're going to fit in, and just a little bit of extra room to account for the glue and stuff, and just a little bit of movement. So that's why I'm cutting these down. I picked out the worst edge of these two. This one's got just a little corner here, just slightly cracked. So I'm just going to cut that one off. So let's start with a nice clean edge. I'm going to do that to both of them. I'm doing outside because it's a nice day. We get this beautiful weather right now, and I've got my saw here. So I'm still going to wear my respiratory protection, eye protection, hearing protection, gloves, but now I can cut this down so I not have all this debris and everything going inside of the camper if I was doing it inside of there. So I had to take these out of the camper, turn them sideways to get them through the entry door, which is the only way in and out for these panels now. But I'll trim those down on both of them. And I'm also, next, I'm going to round the corners on the bed wall, on the vertical corners, and to make it easier to get in, because it's going to, when this whole thing goes together, it's going to be kind of complicated getting this whole thing together and in. I'm going to have to basically tilt that bed wall after the bed platform's already glued in place. I'm going to have to tilt it and cap the bed platform while I'm tilting the other wall in and getting extrusions over the side walls. And the mitered 45-degree corners all married up with glue on them all at the same time. It's going to be a pretty complicated process, but by rounding these corners, a little trick I learned on the rear walls and doing those, because those also those tight little walls and making those little movements, by rounding these corners with a router down those edges, that's going to make it easier to get those extrusions on, and also getting this thing pushed along the floor with a slight angle on it to get it up into place. So it's going to be a little bit complicated, but that's what we're going to do.
And here I am taking off just enough of the edge of the width of this bed platform so that it'll accommodate the extrusions, which it's going to interlock with.
What I just did is put blue tape down, masking tape or painter's tape down, and I put that down intentionally on the surface so the saw will slide and glide a little bit better across this, and also not scratch this panel as as a saw is gliding along this. So that's something I learned, just to help keep the saw from to slide a little better, and also not to scratch this panel up. And also the tape that I did over my cut that I already just started, that I'm going to put it over the cut I'm doing, will just help to keep some of that dust down just ever so slightly. So just one of the little tricks that I've learned doing this.
Breather protection, eye protection, hearing protection, hand protection.
And yes, before I make all these cuts, I do a lot of setup and prep. You can see here I'm using a guide that I went ahead and made sure is exactly parallel and or perpendicular with the panels in exactly the space I wanted it. Had, of course, panels set up on easels here, and made sure it's using a good fiber cement cutting blade. And what I'm doing here is the same thing I did in the video, installing the rear walls of the camper, and that's just doing a little tiny 1/4 inch round on one side of these panels to help them install into the extrusions as they come in at a bit of an angle, just to make that a little easier. And I also installed some extra reinforcement inside the extrusions made of fiberglass to help reinforce the structure of those extrusions, so I can actually attach some hinges into those for my garage doors, which I'll share more of that coming up soon in another video. So after the extrusions are all cut and the bed wall and platform are all in place, started to go ahead and apply sealant to the extrusions and the walls to glue them in.
Slide this forward if we can. Go ahead and let me know what you need to do for this wall. I've got it for now.
Okay, I'm gonna put this on
Yep, go for it. Watch just your top there, so you get it.
bottom first.
Yep, looks good. And I'm ready to slide it forward whenever you are.
Yep,
And we'll just slide the top forward.
And after getting adhesive sealant on all the edges, both inside the extrusions and also on the surfaces that they're going to connect to on the extrusions, the bed platform and wall, time to push it on.
Okay, we're gonna tilt up and in. Okay. Now we're gonna push.
And once you have the good alignment, this adhesive sealant grabs on.
I'll put a level on this. Let's get the top done. We'll get a level on it.
Okay.
So I think what we're gonna do is I'm gonna go in here and goop this up.
Okay.
And of course, before getting to this stage, we had many things set up. All these little jack stands. We had several hands. Thank you to my friends who helped me put this together. 4 hands would not have been enough. 6 hands was great, and even 8 hands would have been better. You can see there's a lot of little things that have to happen during the time. In addition to having all the various supplies around, make sure you have plenty of the adhesive sealant and so forth. And again, all the edges clean, ready to go. And so the goop could just be applied and stuck.
Guys are great. You're all doing great.
And this bed platform stuck it is, because it is 6.5 feet wide and 1.5 feet of overlap with that lower rear wall platform. And so it's a lot of surface area, and there's a lot of adhesive seal in there that is fully glued down in there and well cured. So it's got a lot of strength and adds a lot of strength to that rear wall.
Okay, extrusion coming your way.
In addition to the bed wall being locked in with all the adhesive sealant acting as a really big gusset to strengthen that whole rear wall and spread the load on the rear wall and push that forward onto the bed platform and onto the floor, there's also these extrusions, which all are glued in really strongly from both the inside of those and also the outside. And you'll notice also perhaps that there is that additional piece of FRP that's embedded within the extrusion, already glued into place. And that's, again, the additional strength to help allow me to attach some hinges into those extrusions and really add the additional strength for those to be able to be screwed into those. And so these are all pushed in, and once they're pushed into place, they hold into place. They do not move or fall out as they seem like they would. So then it's just a matter of getting them all to be exactly perpendicular to each other, level to the rest of the camper, and then of course getting all the different seams sealed, both interior and exterior seam sealed, while we get this bed platform lowered into place, which again was a bit of an interlocking puzzle, as all the pieces do get interlocked together and create one really big, strong, gusseted piece between the rear wall and up to the bed wall platform, really framing out the gear garage and of course on the other side, the camper itself.
Did you see inside? Is it good there?
Yeah, we're looking great. We're looking great. I'm checking our 90s out here.
Oh yeah, you love it.
Yep, so I'm checking those on the outside here. Okay, we're looking pretty good on level.
And after getting all the different angles level and at 90 degrees to each other, it's then time to start cleaning up this adhesive sealant.
Yeah, how's that look up there in the bed platform? Looks okay, huh?
The inside actually looks super clean.
Okay, so the part that no one's ever going to see except my bikes. See though?
There's just a lot of excess here.
Yeah. And then just like, yeah, scoop it into a paper towel and try to make it smooth so it's both aerodynamic and water doesn't pull up or dirt, pull up and get caught.
This is where the artist suit comes in to smooth out this adhesive sealant so it has a really nice leading edge to it.
Oh my gosh, that is so exciting.
It's in, Casey.
It's in. It's in, thanks to you two. It's really awesome.
Huge step.
And it is definitely a huge step. I am so excited to have this bed platform installed. It now creates the camper. And of course, as soon as all that adhesive sealant is applied and the platforms and extrusions are placed, it's time to start peeling off this tape after all the adhesive sealant gets smoothed out so that there's nice edges and the tape doesn't get locked down and all the edges are nice and clean once that tape's pulled up. And that is one of the most rewarding parts of this entire project, is actually peeling up the tape. Because after you got all the adhesive sealant smoothed out, then peeling up the tape takes all that extra residual adhesive sealant off. And then it's just a matter of going through and just doing an extra little cleanup of the edges so they're nice and smooth. And any little extra bit of adhesive sealant that may have come off, you got cleaned up. And a little bit of soapy water does that quite well, or a paper towel, some rubbing alcohol on it. And then it's time to get some more adhesive sealant down on the inside of this garage and get it really well sealed up. As you can see, I probably put quite a liberal amount of adhesive sealant down in some of these sections to make sure they were well sealed and also well adhered between the different pieces. Even though there is adhesive sealant between each of these pieces, such as between the floor and this bed wall, or between the bed wall and the bed platform and the extrusion that interlocks those two, or the extrusions on the sides interlocks them. But nonetheless, I come back over and just go ahead and use lots of gloves and paper towels and adhesive sealant just to make sure everything's well sealed up and looks really good with a nice clean edge. It's very rewarding. And then once that nice adhesive sealant is all smoothed out, it's time to peel that tape off. And that is about the best part of this whole entire project. And a lot of tape it was. There's definitely a lot of tape that was used and a lot of tape that does come up, and boy, so it really piles up in the trash cans. And it is messy, so hence why the rubber gloves are there. And these are throwaway latex gloves. And I do go through quite a bit of them as I go through and smear out this caulk, both before I take the tape off and after. And even sometimes you spill a little bit of this adhesive caulk or it smears onto the wall. It's no big deal. It easily cleans up with some rubbing alcohol, and you can then just go back in and smooth it out afterwards, such as I do here. So I don't have really any little abrupt lines. It's all nicely smoothed out, and it is definitely great to see this finished product. So I'm peeling off the tape here from the caulking that I did to make sure I have some clean edges and not some big messy goops. And there's something really rewarding about peeling off the masking tape, because you know that's pretty much the end of that sealant adhesive application, and that is always fantastic. Unfortunately, when peeling off the tape, sometimes there's a little bit of goop that overlaps, comes off, so it just needs tiny little bit of artistry to get it to push up. And I still have more to finish, but this is really exciting, super exciting. Because why? Because I now have a gear garage that is almost entirely sealed in. It's structurally built. It is strong. It's strengthening up the rear wall, the side walls. And now all I do is just trim out some of the back edges of the gear garage and also the floor, and how I'm going to do my seal for the door and also for water drain. But I mean, look at this. Doesn't this look so nice? It's nearly done, right? This is my gear garage, right? The floor is looking really good. I've got my back extrusions and everything all nice and clean up here. So still a lot to do. Let me show you some more of the inside. I am super, super happy. This is a really big day. This is probably one of the biggest days of van building. Expedition, this is one of the biggest days of expedition camper building. One is to get your truck. Two is to get the box built. And then there's a lot of other steps, getting windows installed, things like that. But the third one here is getting this done. My bed platform and my gear garage wall and bed wall. This is all sealed up, and or at least almost all sealed up. I've got some trim to do around the corners there, the back corners, and some other things to do to get this all sealed up, but it is nearly all sealed up. So now I have a bed platform, which allows me to start getting all the cabinetry from bed platform to ceiling, all the way around the edges, all those dimensions, exact dimensions, get that all planned out. So I get that detailed design and get those parts ordered, so I get the framing for getting that cabinetry done. It also allows me to get all of my cabinetry, exact dimensions and everything for all the cabinetry that's going along in the inside here for the dinette, the kitchen, and the bathroom. And so it is really a big, big day. It enables me to do a whole lot of other things with this camper build now and take it to the next level and actually start building things instead of cutting things and cutting away, which I've never ever have liked all this cutting away of stuff. Like the hole for the skylight, you know, it's always a scary one, even though I already have one installed over here, but I still have to install that skylight, at least have the hole cut. Cutting the holes for the windows is really tough. Getting the holes cut for the gear garage and all that stuff, but that is all done now. So I am so thrilled to have this bed platform installed, the bed wall done. I can get all this cabinetry and detailed design for that. I know the capper is much stronger now. I can also, once I get the trim done for the gear garage openings trimmed out, I get those gear garage doors, all the parts ordered for that, and get those gear garage doors ordered and get those sealed up. That's huge. Once you get the framing in here, I can get the big stuff in, the refrigerators and the washer and dryer and the wine cooler and all the other big stuff all installed in. I can get this entry door on, and voila, now we'll have a sealed camper, and that's going to be just huge. Actually go start using it. So this is a really, really big day for this. I am just so thrilled, so excited to have this done. Still so much to do, so much trim, so much finished work, so much capture everything, but it is coming together step by step. Exciting.